Man, I've been waiting a good amount of time to get my hands on a Series X to be able to test out this Gigabyte M28U because it's a fantastic monitor and I want to verify that it is a good choice for the Series X. So if you're wondering the same question, follow me along this video because we're going to be testing a few games. We're going to be checking the settings to make sure that this guy matches up with that HDMI 2.1 performance. Sorry, I kind of said that awkward. HDMI 2.1 performance, and if it's worth the $599 at $100 more than you spent for your console. So I'll be 100% honest with you, this is my first playthrough of this Xbox Series X on the Gigabyte monitor. And I purposely kind of saved that because I wanted my initial reaction. I already know what HDMI 2.1 is going to do with the Series X. I've made videos about it. It's been out for almost a year now, and we've had plenty of time to test out what the Series X can do. And I've played plenty of games. As you can see here, I've enabled 4K, and I can go back to my resolution and get full 4K. So now that I've allowed that, you can see my 120 Hertz is capable. Now that doesn't mean every single game is going to be 4K 120 Hertz, but upon initial testing, we're going to find out. So I have about 3 games we're going to test out. It's going to be Warzone, Black Ops, Cold War, and probably get into a little bit of Fortnite. So something you need to know is on any HDR monitor, if you're in HDR mode, you're going to lose control within the menus themselves. Now, this monitor has some control of brightness and contrast and things like that when you're in HDR mode. But I say that because the Series X, when it's in 4K, UHD, 120 Hertz, it's going to give you HDR in most titles. And that's retroactively on the Series S and Series X. They give 4K HDR even on old titles that didn't have HDR before. And so what you notice here in the menu when HDR is off, we get full capability of aim stabilizer, black equalizer, super resolution, overdrive, and AMD FreeSync Pro. And then if I go down to my custom presets, we get full access to all of the presets, including custom calibrations. Now you'll notice a flicker in the screen. This is it switching over to HDR and booting that game. And you'll know in just a second because I'll show you the settings. So you'll notice all I get now is super resolution, overdrive, and AMD FreeSync. My aim stabilizer and black equalizer has fallen out. I can't do anything with it. And then I go to HDR. And we noticed this previously when I did a full review of this monitor. We get access to light enhance, color enhance, dark enhance, local dimming, and then of course reset picture. And those were actually very, very helpful in some of the HDR calibration that I did. So if you're having issues with HDR and utilizing this monitor with the Series X, then go into that additional tuning you get within the picture settings, HDR, then there's about 4 to 5 settings there that you can tune your HDR. And that is a huge plus for this monitor compared to others that don't give you that same control. Got him. Okay, so first playthrough here on Cold War, and I'm pretty dang impressed. I want to show you guys a few things. First and foremost, motion. The motion is great. As I pan around, aim down sights, I'm not getting this crazy amount of like motion blur, and it's not choppy. There's no actual screen tearing going on. Yeah, this is performing really well, but if we take a look up at the frames per second ticker, I mean, I'm getting a solid lock, and this is 4K 120. I'm not dipping massive frames. Variable refresh rate is on. We know that because it was on in the settings, and we'll probably see that dip happen every once in a while. But just testing this refresh rate, moving around, even fast paced, not a lot of motion blur, great fidelity. It's retaining all of its frames. I'm not seeing any screen tearing, stutter, motion blur. It's looking really good, and I'm able to tear it up really well. I don't know if you guys just saw that. Maybe I'll replay it here for you guys to check out, but you can only make out this guy's gunfire. You can't even see him. He's tucked behind the car in this Nuketown map. And I was able to pick that up from a pretty far distance and sneak in a shot there and take him out, which is actually really good. You wouldn't be able to see that on those lower performance, lower fidelity monitors. But fidelity wise, I mean, look at the color pop, look at the sun reflections. It's not amazing, it's not perfect, but it doesn't have that haziness over it. It actually has good color, good contrast, good clarity. And on this Series X seems to be a great partner. But I want to check out a couple other games before we decide this. So let's jump in and test out some of the other games we have access to. I want to test something out specifically on Warzone, and that's if the fidelity is going to be better with this 4K 120 Hertz. And we saw with the Series S and Series X on 1440p, you lose like those HD textures. It has a haziness over the display, and that's going to be a huge benefit if this M28U doesn't have that. And a good reason to spend the extra $100, $150 for just that next level experience and something that's going to be future capable for the next like 5 to 7 years. I mean, there's no piece of hardware that's going to come out over the next 5 years that this monitor won't be able to take as an input and turn into something great and usable. So as you can see here, Modern Warfare game packs and texture packs. If I go through, I have every high resolution texture pack available on this. Obviously we're connected with HDMI 2.1, but what I'm getting is this bit of haziness to the display, similar to the Series S. And obviously that's not this particular monitor. So because Warzone's been such a pain in the butt, and in order to get 1440p, 120 Hertz on certain monitors, you have to actually turn your color depth to 8-bit. I've gone in, tested out some more settings, some additional settings here, and I've changed to 10-bit color depth. And then something else that I'm going to do is I'm going to calibrate HDR for games. So that goes through Xbox, and it allows me to calibrate based on the Xbox settings, not just the monitor. Wow, okay, much better. And that has to do with HDMI 2.1. There are certain monitors that will not allow like 1440p, 120 Hertz, and 10-bit color depth. So like you guys saw previously with the GN850, there's a bit of a workaround. You turn off variable refresh rate, and then you turn 10-bit to 8-bit color depth to avoid any type of HDR issue that may try to run that bandwidth. And wow, you guys, look at this. It's as if I'm playing on a good quality PC. The monitor itself is picking up great color. There's good depth in the rendering. I'm not rendering like just a portion of the map. I'm rendering like the whole map. I'm rendering quite a bit of the map actually. And that speaks to the processing power of this Series X and the fact that this monitor is definitely a great companion there. Wow, the fidelity of this monitor and the color capability. Wow, you guys. But hey, this was a beautiful display to be able to do the 4K 120 HDR, and it looked phenomenal. I wasn't so excited getting into it, but input lag, response rate, motion blur, screen tear, it all came out on top in Warzone, in my opinion. And that's one of the most difficult games to be able to perform well on. And these two seem to be a match made, well, meant to be together, so to speak. But that's not it. There's one more thing I want to test out, one more game, because it's a little bit easier to run on these consoles, and you can kind of max out your settings all the way. And of course, that's going to be Fortnite. But I mean, look at this color, you guys, like the aqua, the pink, it really pops, and you can make out the detail of the animation. Looks really good in my opinion, far better than I expected. And we are receiving the 120 hertz up here. So I know the gameplay is gonna be really, really smooth. So I've been pretty dang impressed with this M28U on the Series X console here. And you know, the Series S was pretty impressive as well, but testing those three games, Cold War, Warzone, and now Fortnite, I can tell you without a doubt, without any hesitation, that the M28U needs to be on your list if you're a console gamer, specifically the Series X and probably the PS5 as well. I mean, it hit every box, it checked every single box. 120 hertz, variable refresh rate, HDMI 2.1 to give you that 120 hertz 4K resolution. The HDR actually did really well in game, and it improved the Warzone capability. I have to tell you, that one thing alone blew my mind. I mean, it made me want to get this monitor with this Series X alone and have its own kind of standalone desk, so I can just play on the Series X when I don't feel like sitting down at the computer and kind of getting more involved. And maybe just having something laying around, it's a little bit easier to fire up and get going. I'll keep it short and simple, you guys. That's my review. I think this guy's phenomenal. In every area that it mattered, it performed well. And for $599, to be a great companion to the Series X, checks every single box. If you want to know more about the in-depth performance of this monitor, I did a full review on the channel. Go check it out, it's on the home page. There's also a full playlist of other monitors for you to check out if you're interested in buying something for your console. I probably have 10-15 videos now about monitors, and some around console gaming, some around PC gaming. So go check that out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can get notified when our next video gets posted, and it's going to be another console monitor review. So I'm doing a lot of those lately. Anyways, go ahead and go check those out, you guys. I appreciate you watching so far, and I'll catch you in the next video.